Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Roxana from SoilandMagaritas, and today I am going to show you how to put tulip bulbs in containers so they can bloom in the spring. I am located in central Indiana. I am in zone 5, and I have been trying to put bulbs in containers for the past few years, and I have had some success and some failing as well. So I'm going to show you what I do. I think that I somewhat have it down. Some years I still risk it, but I'm going to show you what I do. And also here in the second part of the video, I am going to show you how I plant the huge planters that I have back there with the DIY trellis that I make with bamboo. So we're going to plant those as well today, but I have to clean a lot. So let me just start with this. Okay, so first of all, let me say that I have two types of containers that I use for tulips. I have the containers that are going to be protective, that I can move around, that I can just pick up and move from one spot to the other. And I have containers that are permanent and somewhat a permanent space, like the planters that I'm going to show you next. So these are the ones that I'm going to be moving around, and in the spring when I have the bulbs coming through, I'll be placing them where I want them to be. What I have found here in central Indiana is that with the snow and with the rain and with the really cold temperatures that we have, more than likely my tulip bulbs will rot in the containers if I leave them outside, exposed to the snow and exposed to basically the weather. What I do is that I choose containers, any containers, whether it's terracotta, thick plastic, or just regular plastic, whatever container that I choose, I am going to keep them still outside, but they're going to be protected from the snow and from the rain. So I am basically going to be the only source for them for water. So I have a back porch that is screened and it is protective. It is not heated, it's just exposed to the weather. It still gets really cold temperatures, which is what the tulips like. But that's basically what I found. For a few years I tried just leaving them outside and they rotted. I tried putting them against the house on either the west side or the east side of the house. They rotted. So the one year where I left them underneath the back porch where they still get cold but it's protected from the snow, that's when I had success. That's what I have been doing from then. I just get my containers ready and I put them there. I give them water maybe once a month if it has been really dry, and that's basically what I do. Because they are protected from the snow and from the rain, I don't have to worry much about using special type of containers. However, if you are in a colder zone, you might want to just make sure that the containers that you're using are okay for the weather that you have, so don't risk it. Even though terracotta are supposed to be, you know, really picky about weather and frost and all of that, I still risk it. Sometimes I might have one that cracks because of age, but pretty much I have really good results with that. So what I'm going to do is that I use these containers for having some late summer plants in front of my garage, and the soil, it's pretty fresh. I basically changed the soil when I was doing all of that fall containers. So what I'm going to be doing is basically half of the containers at the bottom are going to be with the old soil, and the other top half I'm going to use a regular potting mix. Do not use garden soil because that is just not gonna work for what we need. So I have a combination of tulips that I'm going to be using for most of my containers outside, at least for these containers. And I have these Triumph tulips. They're like a rich purple color. And I also have some, and these I got from, I believe I got this from Menards, can't remember. These guys right here, I got from Tulip World. These are the Queen of Night. They are a gorgeous dark purple color as well. And these guys, I think I got this from Home Depot. These are a pink color, pink impression. These are really, really lovely. So I have somewhat a pink, dark purple color going on here. Also, another thing to mention is that sometimes I use containers that are going to go straight into my display, like this terracotta container. I'm going to put bulbs in here and they're just going to bloom in here, and that's what I'm going to use. Or like this on here as well, and like this fake terracotta here as well. But sometimes I use just regular containers, the containers that I get the perennials in or the annuals. I just save them and I use these containers for tulips. Why? Because sometimes what it happens is that in the spring, when especially when the stores have all of their containers out for the spring garden, then I find sales, and sometimes I find really cute containers that I want to use for tulips. And what I do is that I plant the tulips in here, or like these 1 gallon containers here. And what I do is that if I find a cute container, I just put these containers, or I just dig the tulips and put them in the containers where they're going to be going. It's just another thing that I do, and I know that I am going to be finding a lot of new planters in the spring, so I just want to have tulips here and there available for me. So let me bring you a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing exactly. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that at this point I'm going to be using some fertilizer. Before I cover it completely with potting mix, I'm going to be using some bone meal. So I'm going to start with the dark ones. So I have a total of 30 tulips here. That's probably enough. So this container is huge, and I probably have at least 6 inches at the bottom filled out with the old potting mix. And remember, if you have a tulip bulb, the flat side goes down and the pointy side goes up. And if you are unsure about which side is what, just put them sideways and the tulip will find its way up. This right here is perfect. And I just kind of spray or spread some of the bone meal. And that's about it. Now I am going to be leaving some space up here because I do want the tulips to kind of have a little bit of a frame when they do come out, especially if they are tall tulips. So this guy is done. Actually, I need more soil here. This one has way too much soil because I need to make sure that I have plenty at the bottom, but I also need to make sure that I have plenty on top. I think that's good right about there. Some of these you might be able to see that they're rotten. I just toss that away. because I know more than likely that's not going to make it, or this guy is questionable. It's good. Another thing that you have to consider is making tags for your tulips. I am not doing that right at this moment because I can't find my good tags, but when I'm ready, when I have the tags, I am going to be referring to this video so that I can remember which ones are which. Now, when it comes to 1-gallon containers, some people don't think that they have enough space as far as depth to work with, because they're only like so deep. But I have done this in the past and I have had great success. I just fill half of the container with soil. I put the bulbs in and the other half with potting soil. And it works for me. If you are unsure, try it and see for yourself if they make it for you. Okay, so they're right here. All of these 1-gallon containers are halfway filled with soil, with potting mix, and then the tulips go in. Then I do a little bit of fertilizer. Read the instructions about how much fertilizer you should be using. I just kind of do the fertilizer like I do my cooking, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then we need fresh potting mix. And these are done. I am going to finish up with the rest of the containers, that way you don't have to watch me do this. It's very simple. Make sure that you have plenty of soil at the bottom, at least 6 inches to work with. Put the bulbs pointy side up, add fertilizer and potting mix on the top, and boom, you're done. Oh no, lots of roots in here. Oh no. I really don't want to take this trellis out, but I might just have to. I can't get to the roots. Oh, it's coming apart. Why? I guess I'm just gonna have to take this trellis out. I didn't want to, but it's kind of falling apart, and there is no way that I can take everything out and add soil and put tulips in here without having to mess with this. So it was fun while it lasted. I didn't realize that my camera stopped recording at some point, but basically I did not want to take the trellis that I make with bamboo sticks and hydrangea cuttings from this container, from this huge container, but I had to. I mean, the potting mix that it was here, it was just full of of roots, and it was massive. I couldn't just save anything. So basically what I did, I went almost all the way out, all the way down, and I dug out everything that I possibly could, and then I added 2 bags of potting mix, just fresh. That way the tulips can do their thing. And right now I am about, I will say 2/3 from the bottom. I have fresh potting mix, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put all of the tulips here. I'm going to add fertilizer, and then I'm going to add probably another bag of potting mix. Let me bring you along for that. Okay, so the 2 types of tulips that I'm going to be using here are one of my favorites, Akibono. It's a double tulip, and it blooms this gorgeous, gorgeous shade of yellow that I just absolutely adore. I have 2 bags of 25 bulbs each, so I got 50 right there. And I also have 25 of the Queen of Night tulips that I'm probably going to be mixing here and there just so that they get a little bit of contrast with the yellow Akibono ones. So there you have it. I have one of the 2 huge planters that I have out here ready for spring bulbs. I am going to do the same thing on the other one, clean out everything. I'm probably going to have to stop at the store for more potting mix because I was not anticipating having to fill these containers with potting mix. Another question that people ask whenever they see me planting tulips in containers is, what do you do after they bloom? Basically, every time I plant tulips in containers, I treat them as annuals. Yes, I know it's a waste, but I don't have a huge garden. I don't have a huge property where I can just wait until they're done, take them out, move them, and transplant them. I just don't have that. So I just don't have that space, so I just treat them as annuals. And I know it's a lot of people are thinking like, oh, you know, she can be using them for year after year, and yes, I could if I had the space, but unfortunately I don't. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments, and if you like it, just give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe today. Thank you for being here, and until the next time.